Hey, my name is Brian Wall from worshiptutorials.com and brianwallmusic.com. And this video is a little tip. And this is about talking while you play the guitar. So as worship leaders, if you're a worship leader, because I'm a worship leader, we often have an opportunity to speak in the middle of a song or maybe at the end of a song. And it's kind of nice to have some music going on when you're doing it. Now let me tell you something. I was afraid for a long time about talking while I'm playing. And I was scared and I didn't do it. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to be afraid of it. I want you to give it a shot. So I'm going to give you a few tips that I picked up along the way that let me be smoother when I'm talking while I play the guitar. So tip number 1 is play a chord progression that is familiar and it doesn't change. So look what I'm doing. I'm playing G, I'm going to a D, I'm going to an E minor, I'm going to a C. And I'm going to spoil it for you, I'm not going to change that progression throughout this whole video. If you don't change it, your brain doesn't have to think about it. And when you have less things to think about on the guitar, you can spend more time thinking about what you're going to say, which is important and brings me to point number 2. Think about what you're going to say ahead of time. If you're going to talk about a scripture, think about what you're going to say. Even write it out in advance. At least prepare it in your mind. If you're going to pray, think about what you're going to say when you pray. What you don't want to do is say something like Peter saw Jesus on the road to Damascus, or when Paul was at the Transfiguration. You don't want to say something like that because it makes you look like you don't know what you're talking about. When in reality you probably do, but your brain is just twisted up into a pretzel because you're trying to do 2 things at once. Alright, point number 3 is pause during the changes. If you pause during the changes, it helps your rhythm. It helps your brain stay in sync. It also kind of gives it a feeling like, oh, this fits together. So it's very simple. Just take a little pause and do it between the changes. See what I just did there? I paused between the changes. And it made it easier. Okay, point number 4. I believe I'm on 4. Is practice. Do it at home. Do it by yourself. Take a chord progression and just play it and practice talking over it. If you want to get even better, talk to somebody, because that way you're really going to have to think, because you're going to have to take what they're saying and you're going to have to internalize it, come up with a response that's somewhat coherent, and then give it back to them in a way that they can understand it. So practice at home. So there you have it. Those are my 4 tips to talking while you play guitar. Number 1. What was number 1? Play a progression that is familiar, that doesn't change. Number 2. Think about what you're going to say ahead of time. Number 3. Pause during the changes. And number 4. Practice, practice, practice. Because everybody knows that spoken word is much more powerful when there's music behind it, right? Prayers are just more effective. That's not true. I just made that up. But it is true that it adds a nice bit of ambiance and a nice bit of atmosphere if you can play a little bit of guitar while you're talking. Now, if you've got a keyboard player or maybe another guitar player, band member, and they just know to keep going when you talk, then that's cool. But a lot of times, you're going to have to do it on your own. And now you can. Oh, I changed my progression. I'm hanging out on a C. If you can tell, it feels like we're almost done, and it's true, we are. This video is just about over. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, please head over to worshiptutorials.com where you can ask. And I would love to connect with you there. I'll see you next time.